And the guy who's presiding over this, Nadler, this is him when they were trying to impeach Clinton. So this is what he said. Did he get stung by a bee?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Should we get him an EpiPen? What
I think
is
he
he
needs
okay?
an EpiPen. Here we go.
Must never be a narrowly voted impeachment or an impeachment substantially supported by one of our major political parties and largely opposed by the other. Such an impeachment would lack legitimacy, would produce divisiveness and bitterness in our politics for years to come, and will call into question the very legitimacy of our political institutions.
So now do you feel a little bit more angry at the Democrats for being trying to make you into a dupe? Because that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. When they were trying to impeach Bill Clinton, the Republicans, and they were all trying to stand on him, we all knew they were full of shit. Just like everybody knows this guy's full of shit now. Somehow he had clarity back then, but now he doesn't. Isn't that funny? Here's what he said again.
Must never be a narrowly voted impeachment or an impeachment substantially supported by one of our major political parties and largely opposed by the other.
We must never have it.
Such an impeachment would lack legitimacy, would produce divisiveness and bitterness in our politics for years to come, and will call into question the very legitimacy of our political institutions.
And now you know the rest of the story. Turn it over to my panel. Anything to say?
Well, it's so hard not to just greet the whole concept of impeachment with an eye roll. It's like, I remember the circus that was Bill Clinton. I'm living through this circus now. And George W. Bush, a bona fide war criminal.
Bona fide.
Dennis Kucinich connected the dots, brought up, I think it was like 35 or something like that, articles for impeachment, and he was ignored by Democrats and Republicans and gave a spiel on C-SPAN that nobody watched.
Yeah, and also let's not forget we're talking about distractions. So what happened in the middle of this Bill Clinton impeachment distraction? Oh, that's when he overturned Glass-Steagall.
Oh, no kidding.
Isn't that
Guess
weird?
what happened in the middle of this impeachment? They re-upped the Patriot Act, and yesterday Trump kicked 700,000 people off food stamps.
Oh,
And what are we talking about?
right.
This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. Because the Democrats cannot substantially oppose Trump.
They voted for his border wall.
They voted for his border wall. They gave him $80 billion more to go bomb people.
They've actually approved $1.5 trillion in war budgets.
I know. For a guy who's a traitor to our country.
He's so bad, but he's not so bad. We can't give him $1.5 trillion for war, and $1.5 trillion. Boy, why does that number stick out? Oh, that's right. That's the number it would take to erase student loan debt.
That's exactly right.
Weird. When Trump gave $1.5 trillion in tax breaks was to rich people, was everyone in outrage? No, they
barely kept the news cycle going.
barely. That's when he said shithole countries, and that's what they talked about.
That's what they talked about. They didn't talk about the biggest transfer of wealth in the history of our country, from the poor to the wealthy. They didn't talk about that. They're still not talking about it. What are they talking about? This. Again, the fact that I can outdo 99.99% of journalists in America shows you that they're not journalists. They're people, they're career climbers looking to get a fucking paycheck. That's who every single person is who works at CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, MSNBC, and Fox News. That's who they are. That's why we're living in the world we're living in. There's people by the thousands living under bridges in America, and we're talking about a phone call to the Ukraine. And we're not talking about the shit that we're supposed to be. The Democrats will never give you something to vote for. And if someone does, they'll come by and let you know, remember, that guy's not a Democrat. Hey, Bernie Sanders is offering me something. Yeah, that guy's not a Democrat. Remember, Democrats don't offer you shit. They tell you to suck it and vote for them because that guy's a little worse.
And that's what they also just handed. The Democrats have just handed the Republicans a great campaign slogan.
That's right.
The Republicans do the same thing. We're not going to offer you anything either.
No.
But we're not Democrats.
right.
We're not Democrats. The Democrats tried to get your boy Trump impeached. We're better. So this keeps the country divided. It keeps the country going, a third party, that might be weird. It keeps the party thinking that their football team is better than this other football team.
Well, and the Democrats are really showing their hand here because I think that the Democratic establishment knows that if Trump's still around, like if Trump gets reelected, it ain't going to look good for them. And they know that to beat him at the ballot box, Bernie Sanders can do that. Bernie Sanders is the guy that can beat him at the ballot box. So they're trying to do everything they can to prevent it from coming down to one of their people against Trump because they know Trump will win and that'll look bad. So let's try Russiagate. Let's try impeachment. Let's try anything that it'll take to not have to worry about getting rid of him at the ballot boxes. We don't want the guy who will actually do that.
That's right. That's right. They don't want Bernie Sanders, and in fact, they're already calling him a Russian.
Well, they're trying to do everything they can because, look, all their failed, like the establishment tried to jam Kamala down our throats. Oh, she just had to drop out, right? Robert Francis O'Rourke, Irish guy whose parents gave him a fake Latino name. He's dropped out. Buttigieg is in a strong fourth place. Joe Biden is hallucinating. I don't know what he's going through. So they are completely running out of corporate Democrats to jam down our throat.
Like Pete Buttigieg is the guy that they seem to be coalescing around now that Kamala Harris and Joe are flailing. He is Joe Biden. He's another Hillary Clinton, but a little more likable, Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah, and he's such a great centrist, and it's amazing. But all of his black people love me. That's imploding.
And how they didn't ask him about that at the debate.
I know.
Not one question.
Not one.
Hey, you've been caught faking African American support. What about that? Not one question.
One.
The one thing that I looked up about Pete Buttigieg is like one of his, accomplishments so far.
Yeah.
And one woman did say they were interviewing African American population there, and one woman said, "Well, he did finally get us Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard."
All right, there you go.
Now they said, okay, now we might roll our eyes on that, and I did too. But reading a little bit closer, they said you can't believe that it took till 2017 for that to happen.
Right.
And he did get that done. Okay, gotcha. But that's it. That's all that I could read about
More
it.
window dressing. Now that's MLK Boulevard's a fine thing.
It's a fine
but
thing.
Does MLK Boulevard get you health care? Does it stop the private prison industry? Does it give you jobs?
He thinks the voters are smart enough to know what to do.
Oh.
And I want to go back to what Ron said. He called it the battle box instead of the ballot box. I think it should be called the battle box.
Battle box.
I'm with you.
I think more people would show up.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Bill Dwyer to host it.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Oh, his former son used to work for the show. Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's still a son.
No, I think they broke up.
His former son. Well, I don't know. That sounds impeachable to me. I think we should impeach Bill Dwyer.
I think we should impeach Bill
But if
Dwyer.
I had my own cabinet, I totally would have Professor Turley on my cabinet.
God
Right?
God forbid you have sound reasoning in the room, even if it might ideologically or politically disagree with you. Like, what's wrong with having somebody in the room that's like, well, this guy's a constitutional law professor, and that's what's more important. Like, it shows how crazy Trump derangement syndrome really is.
Yeah.
It shows that it's literally a crazy brain problem. Like, it's a mental illness.
It is.
Well, that's why he pointed it out. My friends are mad.
Everybody's mad.
Everybody's mad. And that is the truth. And the madness has really twisted people's perspective. And that he was able to convince me in such a simple way that if we lower the degree of what impeachment can be, what do you think is going to happen
It's
next
going to
time?
be impeach all the time. We'll do this constant impeachment cycle.
Yep.
I just like for anyone watching it in real time, they could have been like, wait, hold on, turn this up. The fourth lawyer's on, and he's actually talking about law. He's actually doing
Yeah.
that. That's
He's actually talking about the law. He's not talking about foreign policy and a signing city on the Hill. What an
Yeah, he is weird. A lawyer just brought up the law, legal precedents, pre-existing cases that had come up within regards to this case. He didn't bring up his jive-ass foreign policy. It was just like, wow, that's, I think, what a lawyer should do.
It'd be like if you went to a comedy show and you were like, finally, this guy's telling jokes. The first three people were playing folk songs. It was really strange. I don't know what.
This was a poetry slam. So this goes to show you how the establishment news media is lying to you constantly over and over, and they'll like how they say, and they'll say certain things are debunked that are so far from being debunked, and they'll say certain things are certain that aren't. Like, for instance, Russia hacked our election. They did not. Russia hacked into the DNC server. There is no evidence of that. But they say it as if there is. They also say that the Uranium One deal has been debunked. That has not been debunked. They can say it has been, and they can say and now it's gotten so bad that normal people are catching on that the term conspiracy theory just means my opponent's viewpoint.
Yeah.
That's what they've overused it so much now that the term conspiracy theory to a normal person means that's just my opponent's viewpoint. They go, oh, this guy's got a conspiracy theory. What's that? It's different than mine. So it's a conspiracy theory. So the Democrats thought Russians colluded with WikiLeaks and Trump to hack the DNC. Trump thinks it was CrowdStrike that had something to do with that. But he's a conspiracy theorist, and they aren't. Do you see? It's all conspiracies, which is why they called it collusion, which goes to show you they know that they've weaponized the word conspiracy so they can use it against somebody who's onto their bullshit, which is what they do all the time. Come see our live show. We're going to be in Honolulu on December 27th. We'll be in Portland, Oregon, and then we go to Tempe, Arizona, San Jose, California, Sacramento, Miami. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all the tickets for all our live shows coming to a town near you, and become a patron or support the Jimmy Dore Show. We give you hours of bonus material every week. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com, become a premium member. Thanks for your support.